good to see you here today. I'm glad you didn't have too big a Thanksgiving dinner, that you're not handicapped here. Thank you for your presence. And I want to thank you for your loyal support during this time of the effect of the virus. From what I hear, a lot of congregations are down a lot. We are down some, but with your encouragement and presence and contribution is held strong. There are some that have budgets that they're quite concerned about whether they'll be able to reach, but we've been blessed by your support and the leadership of this church that we're blessed, and we appreciate each and every one of you. It was the second grade. I know that for a fact. Parkview Elementary School. Mrs. Nash was my teacher. My brother was born on September the 17th, and she let me run home when Mom and Mike came home. And so I got there and was able to see him in second grade. Some time goes by, I don't remember how much, I think just 2 or 3 months. And I came home and I told my mom and daddy that Mr. Furl, the principal, had whipped me that day, gave me a good whipping. And they basically said, well, you must have done something that you deserved it, and didn't pay much attention to the fact. I came back the second day and I told them I got another whipping. They wanted to know what I did to get a whipping. And I said, I don't know, he just doesn't like me. And he's just, just a mean old man, and basically is what I said. They still did not pay a lot of attention to that great crisis in my life. And third day, Daddy asked me, he said, how'd you go today? I said, I got another whipping today. He said, I'm going to see Miss Furl tomorrow. Well, I didn't know how to handle that. So he took his lunch break and he was pretty worked up. He said, I just want to know, Mr. Furl, why you giving my boy, I'm behind discipline, but what has he done that you've whipped him 3 days in a row? He said, Mr. Fox, I don't know your boy. He said, he's made all this up. I've never given him a whipping. I don't even know him. Is there anything that's happened in your family that would make him crave attention? Daddy said, yeah, we've got a baby in the family. I was the only child for 7 years. And all of a sudden they bring a baby in that gets all this attention that babies get and deserve. My whole world was changed. So I guess I did make all that up, told big lies to try to get attention to myself. But that ended that situation. I never did it again. Believing a lie. My daddy believed a lie. I had presented it in such a way that he accepted that I must have been in the right when I was definitely in the wrong. I want us to think this morning about believing a lie. One of the great stories of the Old Testament involves, of course, Jacob, the father of the 12 sons. Jacob, one of his sons, Joseph, told dreams that he had, and that the mother and father and brothers would bow down to him. And they didn't appreciate it very much at all. But Jacob was very close to Joseph, that was their son, of course, and made a tragic mistake in parenting. Haven't we all made mistakes, but that have children? But a tragic mistake is to honor one child above another. And he gave to Joseph a coat of many colors, not to the rest of the boys, but Joseph's coat of many colors. And that didn't go over very well either. Created even more jealousy and hatred, severe hatred, type that would lead to murder hatred. One day the boys had all been out taking care of sheep, and they'd been gone for a long time, and Jacob was coming quite concerned about them. And so he said to Joseph, he was one of the younger ones with Benjamin, his full brother, he said, I want you to go out and check on your brother, see what's going on. find out if everything's all right. Well, he went towards Shechem and couldn't find them, and he asked a man over there, have you seen my brothers? And he said, yes, I have, and last I heard they were headed for Dothan. He said, okay. So he heads over that way, and the brothers saw him coming at a distance, and they knew who he was. It might have been that coat of many colors, might have been the reason. But when he was in visible sight, some of them said, why don't we kill him? We've been thinking about it. Let's go ahead and just kill him. Reuben's the oldest, and he's got a little more sense than the rest of them. He said, no, he is our brother. Let not his flesh be harmed. No, let's not do that. Let's just throw him in the pit. There was a pit nearby that was dry, and his plan was, according to the scriptures, that he would come back and get Joseph out of the pit and take him to the Father, where he'd be safe. But while he was something he was involved in, and there was a tribe of Ishmaelites, Midianites, who came by on this trail down toward Egypt from Canaan. And Judah came up with a brilliant idea. He said, why don't we sell him? At least we get some money out of him. And they all agreed, except Reuben. He wasn't there. And so they sold him. He's taken away. They go home, and they killed a kid goat along the way and dipped the coat of many colors in the blood of the goat. And they come to their father. And the good reading that Homer did. They said, we found this coat. Do you think it's Joseph's? This is what we found. Is it your son's coat? And of course they knew whose coat it was. Broke his heart, because his son is no doubt has been devoured by beasts and is dead. And he mourned and grieved for many days in the loss of Joseph. But he wasn't dead. He's 17 years old. He's down in Egypt. He's going to be working for Potiphar, and he's going to become prime minister of the greatest nation on earth at that time, Egypt. He's alive. It was a lie. It was a lie, and how they could let their father grieve so much, knowing that they could stop the grief, they could put an end to it, but they let the grief continue because they wanted him to believe this lie. And their hatred and their jealousy and their bitterness was so strong that they would even kill their brother. But he's alive. It was all a big lie. So there are lies that sometimes people are involved in that are personal and may involve family, may involve workers, co-workers, may involve brothers and sisters in the church even, that are misrepresentations. And they want people to be led in the wrong direction, just like these boys did in regard to Joseph. He wasn't dead, he was alive. Second illustration from the scriptures is one of the most remarkable stories in the Old Testament to me. It's 1 Kings chapter 13. This is immediately after the dividing of the kingdom. Remember, after Solomon died, Rehoboam, his son, was to take over the kingdom of Israel. But he was difficult to work with and unbelievably in his efforts to tax the people and to be hard on them. And so finally they rejected Rehoboam, at least the major upper tribes did. And the tribe of Judah cleaved to it was Jeroboam was the one that they placed over the northern kingdoms. Rehoboam stayed with Judah, the tribe of Judah. Jeroboam made a lot of changes against the will of God and the commandments of God. Jeroboam changed the place of worship from Jerusalem to way of Dan in the northern part and Bethel in the southern part of the kingdom, the northern kingdom that now he has the oversight of. He changed what was to be given in worship, the place of worship, the time of worship. Those who function in the worship services, he brought in lewd fellows, they are called in the King James Version, not of the tribe of Levi, not God-fearing priests and men of God, but he just sort of off the streets, the scum of the community, he made him the priest over all these worship services. He was certainly an evil man. And God sends, in 1 Kings 13, he sends a prophet to warn him about that he needs to change his ways. And he is rebuked. He rebukes. Jeroboam rebukes this prophet, whose name's not given in the scripture. He reaches his hand toward him and said to some of the men there, "Arrest that man, grab that man." And his hand drew up and withered. And he started begging the man of God to restore his hand. He does restore his hand. And now Jeroboam says, "Please come to my house. I'll fix you something to eat, and I will reward you for your help and restoring my hand." The man of God says, "No, I can't do that. I've been commanded by God that I must not eat nor drink. I must go back a different route than that which I came, and that's what I'm going to do." He rejected the rewards of the king. Isn't that amazing? But he did what was right because he did what God had asked him to do. Here's the verse 9, that I can eat no bread, drink no water, nor come back the same way. He's heading a direction back home. The sons of an old prophet had watched all of this. They came home and told their father. He said, which direction did he go? And they told him the direction. He said, "Saddle my donkey." They did, and he took off. And he rode hard as he could, and he found the man of God resting. And he came to him, and let's see, if we can pull up verse 18, Robert. There it is, thank you. This is what the old prophet says. "I'm a prophet also, and as thou art. An angel spake to me," lie, lie, lie. "An angel spake to me by the word of the Lord, bring him back with thee into thine house, that he may eat bread and drink water." But he lied unto me. The writer of the book wants us to make sure we understand this is a big lie. But the authority of an angel, that got him. That got him. I've always, that would have gotten me. Yeah, I thought this week when I was studying this, if I were the man of God, and I was approached by another who claimed to be a man of God, and an angel spake to me, was acclaimed or spoke to him, I would have fallen for that, I'm afraid. Because that sounds pretty good. But it wasn't, it was a lie. And he believed the lie. He went home with him, he disobeyed God, and he suffered death as an outcome of it. In Galatians chapter 1, the Apostle Paul said, "If we or an angel from heaven should preach any other gospel to you than that which you have received, let him be accursed." An angel spoke to the man of God and led him astray, was the claim of the old prophet. We need to watch for those who make claims against us or claims against the teachings of the Scriptures. And they might even say, "Well, an angel." That's what, of course, the Mormons believe. An angel led Joseph Smith to the plates of gold. An angel. That's a claim also of course, the Catholicism and other religious groups. Muslims also involve angels supposedly giving direction and material of knowledge. So it is that we still live in a world of similarity. We can't follow that which is of man and could be a lie. What we need to do is follow the word of the Lord. And see, that verse 9, he told Jeroboam, this is the word of the Lord. By the word of the Lord, brother, I can't eat anything or drink water or go home with you. The Lord's, the word, is what I believe in. I'm going to follow. But he didn't when they was tricked. So we need, in religious discussions, in our own faith, not believe a lie. Search it out and follow the word of the Lord. Another example from the Old Testament involves Brother Naaman. Naaman was a commander of 100 men, a centurion, Syrians, but he had leprosy. The handmaiden convinced his wife that if he could see the man of God, he could be cured. They sent for the man of God, Elisha, and they went to the man of God, Elisha, and approached his dwelling. He didn't come out. You've heard this story many times. He sent a servant out and said, you need to go to the Jordan River and dip 7 times, you'll be cured of your leprosy. He got upset about that. And, but he finally, one of the servants said, if he'd asked you to do some great thing, you would have done that. So finally he got his act together, goes to the Jordan River and dips 7 times and comes up and he is cleansed. It's like a baby's flesh. He offers to Elisha, what, Naaman is wealthy. What could I give you? What reward would you accept? Just name the price and it's yours. Basically, is what he was saying in 2 Kings chapter 5. Naaman said, no, I can't accept anything from you, and I won't. They're heading back home, back up to Samaria. He has a servant, Gehazi, and he was accompanied all this offer, reward, and all that. He heard all of that. So he sneaks around and goes back to Naaman and said, we've had 2 young prophets to come to the dwelling of Elisha, and they need some support. Maybe a Babylonian garment, and a little silver or gold to finance them and help them. Oh, Naaman's more than willing to do that. Give them 2 changes of garments and the gold or the silver. And so he accepted it. Went back to who did he go back to? Elisha, thank you. He goes back to Elisha, and Elisha asked him, said, where have you been? He said, I haven't been anywhere. He lied. And the leprosy that had been on Elisha, had been on Naaman, came upon Elisha. You're right in a minute. Came upon Gehazi. So he convinced a lie to be accepted and believed by saying these men have come, they need support. There were no men. He was going to keep it all for himself. It was a big lie. And that lie was believed by Naaman. And so he did what he did based upon a lie. We too search our souls and wonder about things that happen in our lives and want to be sure that we're doing and representing the right things. The Apostle Paul will be our last example. In the New Testament, we read in Acts chapter 26, verses 9 through 11, when Paul was answering to Agrippa about his conversion. I verily thought within myself, verse 9 of Acts 26, that I ought to do many things contrary to the name of Jesus of Nazareth. That's what he thought. I need to do that. Which things I also did in Jerusalem, and many of the saints that I shut up in prison, having received authority from the chief priests. And when they were put to death, I gave my voice against them. And I punished them often in every synagogue, and compelled them, forced them to blaspheme the Christians. And being exceedingly mad against them, I persecuted them even unto strange or foreign cities. Paul did what he thought was right in persecuting Christians and tormenting Christians and arresting Christians and abusing them, torturing them. He believed the lie of the chief priests and the scribes who presented to him that Christianity is wrong. Jesus is not the Son of God. He's blasphemes God, and he must be stopped. And Paul will say in Acts 23 verse 1, I did this with all good conscience. Yes, I persecuted Christians. Yes, I led them to their death because I thought it was the thing to do. Where did he hear that? From the chief priests and the scribes, he said. They taught me that Christianity is evil and wrong. Even though he did it with a good conscience, he still believed a lie. There's a warning to us as well. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, when the situation was in the church of Thessalonica, that some believed their loved ones had died and the Lord hadn't come back. And therefore they must have, something happened wrong or something went wrong. And so Paul describes to them, beginning in verse 3 of 2 Thessalonians, well, let's go with you, Robert. You found it faster than I can. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, the second coming, except there come a falling away first, and a man of sin shall be revealed, the son of perdition. Paul describes to them things that are going to have to happen before the Lord comes back. And they had believed a lie that someone had told them, if our loved ones have died and the Lord hasn't come, then they're lost. He said, no, there's some things that's got to happen. A man of sin's got to be revealed. And he will think of himself as greater than all men and will desire to be worshipped. And it sounds very much like those in authority in Catholicism. And so, but that falling away has got to take place first before the Lord can come. So they had believed a lie in the church there that needed to be straightened so that they could serve God acceptably. We looked at a few examples and a few verses about believing a lie. And it's greater consequence than a little boy trying to get some attention. It could have eternal ramifications. Today, if you're here and not a Christian, we would encourage you to make that first step forward this morning saying, I want to obey the gospel by faith, repentance, and baptism, or if you need to be restored to the Lord, whatever your needs might be. Don't believe a lie. Hold up to the truth, the word of the Lord. While we stand, while we sing.